first game of Week 12 that caught my attention. Titans versus Colts. They both came in at 7-3, tied for the division lead. Colts had beaten them 2 weeks ago in Tennessee, and now they were playing in Indianapolis. It was a great game, Titans versus Colts. The game started off hot, 14-14 after one. It looked like it was going to be a back and forth. It looked like it was going to be, one of those divisional games. You know how divisional games are. No matter the records, they have this cliche that they always say is when two divisional teams play against each other, you could throw out the records because it's a divisional game. And for the most part, it's going to be a close game. And that's how the game started, 14-14. And then in the second, that's when the floodgates opened for the Titans. They scored 21 points in the last 6.5 minutes of the second quarter of the first half. And they finished out the half 35-14. And then at that point, you're asking Phillip Rivers to bring you back 21 points against the Titans. I know the Titans don't have the best defense, but when you completely have to abandon the run and make up points, make up a 21-point deficit, it just gets really, really hard. I think the turning point in this game, for those of you that didn't watch the game, the score was 28-14. So the score was 14-14, and then the Titans took a 21-14 lead, stopped the Colts, came back. They had 4 minutes to go in the around 4.5 minutes to go in the second half, the second quarter, first half till halftime, and they had 4.5 minutes to go, and they ran Derrick Henry up the gut 5 times, and they scored to take a 28-14 lead. And then the Colts got the ball back with 2.5 minutes left, and you're thinking, okay, if we score a touchdown, we'll be down 1. We get the ball back in the second half, no big deal. Or if anything, if we go down at the half, 14 points, not a big deal. We get the ball to start the second half. If we score then we're just down 7 points. I think that's what the Colts should have been thinking, but they struggle to get anything going, and then they have to punt the ball back to the Titans. And then I think number 49 of the Colts, special teamers, punches number 49 of the Titans, and they give up a return, and then they give up an extra 15 yards because of the unsportsmanlike conduct. And then 49 gets thrown out, and now the Titans have a small field to go. They have they're already on the Colts side when they get the ball. They have I think a timeout or 2 left, and they have a minute to play with. And now they're up 14, and they probably would have just ran the ball and probably gone to the halftime with the 14-point lead. But with the return yards and the penalty yards, they're already on the Colts sideline, so they're all right, what the hell? Let's just go for it. Let's just see if we can score another touchdown. And they do in that last minute and 20 seconds that they have. They get a long completion, and I believe it was Tannehill that ran it in, and they scored 35-14 at the half, which is crazy because with 6.5 minutes left, the score was tied 14-14, and then the Colts blink and they're down 35-14. And then the Colts just never got back into it. They couldn't muster enough offense. They couldn't get anything going. And I think that was the turning point. The turning point was that penalty. Maybe they would have still lost, or maybe it was already 28-14. Maybe they wouldn't have came back from that. But they would have had a chance. They could have gone to halftime, adjusted, put a good drive to start the second half. And then, once it's a one-possession game, you never know. But 35-14 is a way different conversation at halftime. You're down 21 points. You got shut out in the second quarter. You allowed 21 points in 6 minutes. It just really probably killed the morale. It just got the game too out of reach. And it reminded me of the first matchup on week 10. The game shifted on a special teams play too. The score was 2017. The Colts were up 3 points, and then they blocked a punt, and it got returned for a touchdown. And then the Titans missed a field goal, and they went down and drived and scored another touchdown. So quickly, the game was 2017. Block punt, return for a touchdown, missed field goal, and then the Colts go on a drive. And then the Titans blink, and then the game's 34-17, and it's pretty much done. I think that's what happened on the Colts this time. They blinked, and they're down 21 points, and at that point, it's whoa, how are we going to come back? Can we come back? And then it's too late. Couldn't get anything going. Derrick Henry had a crazy game, 178 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think Tannehill had talked to the media, and he said that they were watching his carries the last few weeks because, they wanted to save him for the second half of the season. it looks like now they're not watching his carries. They're gonna run Derrick Henry. They're gonna let him get as many touches as he can. And I think Derrick Henry, just because of his physique, how big he is, how he's built, he's strong. He's a strong running back. He's special running back. I think they can run him. Just run Derrick Henry. Just feed the beast, feed the locomotive. And they rode him to 178 yards and 3 touchdowns. Colts had no chance stopping him, especially because they were without their key offseason signing, DeForest Buckner. I believe he was on the COVID-19 list. So Derrick Henry carried the Titans. Tannehill played a clean game. He had no turnovers. And I think Derrick Henry should get some MVP considerations. I know it's a quarterback driven league. It's a quarterback award, basically. Almost every single time that MVP gets awarded, it's a quarterback. But Derrick Henry should get some consideration, especially the Titans finished strong. They're 8-3 right now, so possibly 13-3, possibly not 12-4. If they finish 12-4, and Derrick Henry is a leading rusher, and he has the most touchdowns as a running back, he should definitely get some MVP consideration. But some excuses for the Colts. If I'm to take it easy on the Colts, they were without their starting center, and that's especially important when you have a non-mobile quarterback like Rivers who can't move. I could outrun Phillip Rivers, and I'm not fast at all. They were without their top running back, Jonathan Taylor, the rookie. He actually had one of his better games the week before against the Packers. He had like 90 yards rushing, which may not sound too impressive, but he hasn't had the best of rookie seasons. So that was something that he was going to build on, and unfortunately he couldn't play. And like I said, they were without DeForest Buckner, so their defensive cog right down the middle. They lost him. I saw this graphic. We'll try to put it up. If you're just listening to this, I might have to put the link on the description so you can click on it if you want to see it. But the Colts defense with DeForest Buckner and without DeForest Buckner is like night and day. It's like two different defenses. I think he should get, just because of that, I mean, he already plays great, but just because of that, he should get some Defensive Player of the Year consideration. But hopefully the Colts get Jonathan Taylor and DeForest Buckner back in the coming weeks. Hopefully next week. I'm pretty sure COVID protocol, they should be able to get on the field next week if everything goes well. And hopefully they get their starting center back. I think he had like an ankle injury or something. So that's 3 key starters that they missed. And especially in the division game when things are so close and things can shift so quickly, I think that really helped. That really hurt them. That really hurt them. But yeah, it was a good game. It was good for the Titans. The Titans had been struggling as of late. They hadn't played their best football, and they put like a good 4 quarters together. It was special teams played good. Defense surprisingly played really good. They kept the Colts in check, and the offense looked good. Run Derrick Henry for the Colts. Just like I said, their defense is what's been carrying them this year, and without DeForest Buckner, they're completely different defense. So hopefully for them, he comes back. He comes back, and he's able to perform. And it just shows how important one player could be. If you're going to pay somebody in the NFL, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, super underrated. But those are one of the most important positions in the NFL. And as far as their schedule, the Colts are 1 game behind the Titans now. They split the series 1-1. The Colts have the Texans, the Raiders, the Texans, and then the Steelers and the Jaguars. So not the Texans just lost Fuller for the rest of the season, and he had kind of kickstarted their little turnaround of the season they're trying to have. So they might, and without Fuller, they can't stretch the field. So they should be able to beat the Texans twice. I say should just because they have Watson. You never know about Watson. The Raiders just blew a game to the Falcons, so we'll see how that goes. Steelers is the second to last week of the NFL season, so we'll see if the Steelers are still fighting for something. If they have the first place secured, the Colts might get a cakewalk, or they might not be trying. And then they have the Jaguars. The Jaguars are the Jaguars. So, I mean, they have a couple games in there, Raiders, Steelers, that could go either way. And then they should beat the Texans, and they should take care of the Jaguars. But we'll see. The Titans, they do have a 1-game lead now against the Colts, but they play the Browns next. The Browns are 8-3. They're tough. They're not the best on offense, but they have maybe one of the best running backs in the league. And if Mayfield plays good. They could be trouble. And then they play the Jaguars, the Lions, the Packers, and the Texans. So the Browns and the Packers, those are the 2 games that the Titans have to look out for and just take care of the Jaguars, Lions, and Texans. I did have the Colts winning the division. It's looking a little harder now that they lost to the Titans, but they still have a chance to win it. The Titans, I think with this win, they position themselves really good to win the division or at minimum make the playoffs as a wild card. And I had predicted that they wouldn't make the playoffs this year, so it looks like they're on their way to shut me up. And Derrick Henry, I should have never doubted Derrick Henry. He's having a great season, probably the best running back in the league. Him and Cook. And as far as running backs, because Kamara runs pretty good, but he's great out of the backfield catching. But yeah, that was the Colts versus the Titans. Great game. Titans looked like they stopped their little slump they were going on, turned their season around. Colts couldn't build on their Packers win.